Hey guys, it's Margie, and today I'm doing a movie review of the 1998 film City of Angels. This film starred Nicolas Cage, Meg Ryan, Andrew Barr, Dennis Franz, Colm Feore, Robin Bartlett, Joanna Merlin, Sarah Damp, with a very small role by Alexander Folk, who many of you are familiar of because he is a character actor that has been in many supporting roles, so I just want to mention him. Directed by Brad Silberling, music by Gabrielle Yared, cinematography by John Seal, editing by Lindsay Klingman, writing by Wim Wenders, Peter Handke, Richard Reitinger, and Dana Stevens. And the basic plot for this movie is that Nicolas Cage is an angel, and he is going, obviously helps escort people to heaven and saves people and that kind of thing. And there's like a bunch of angels that live on the earth, and people can't see them, and yada yada. Well, Meg Ryan plays this doctor who loses a patient in the operating room, and she is really upset, and Nicolas Cage wants to comfort her and all of that, so he reveals himself to her, and then things happen on from there. Okay guys, let's jump into performances on this one. Nicolas Cage, I felt like was good. I thought he had a solid performance. He had a couple of major crying scenes, like boo-hoo, tears stream down the face, yada yada, which he totally delivered in. I thought he was good. I think the Nick Cage fans should really see this one, because this is like one of the better ones I've seen. I haven't seen like what a lot of people say are his best films, which I haven't seen anything of him from the 80s, and I've only seen, I've seen several of his films, but I'm not extremely familiar with his work, especially when he was younger. I did see The Family Man, though, which I've done a previous review of, if you want to go check that one out. But anyway, yeah, as I said, I'm pretty familiar with his work and his acting style, but I haven't seen everything that he's in, is basically what I'm telling you. And I haven't seen a lot of his roles that people say he was the best in. So, but I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. And I thought his performance was solid. His crying scenes were all believable. And I thought he was great. I thought he was good. A couple of his line deliveries were a little cheesy, but the writing, I'm getting to the writing. Meg Ryan, I thought was good. But I felt like, well, so many more people, and I say this a lot, so many more people, other people could have done it so much worse. But there are several people that come to mind that could have done it better. So, yeah, I thought she was good, but I thought she was just a little too starry-eyed, gazy, yada yada, but a lot of that's directing, getting to that. Everybody else on this list, guys, I thought was good. I thought was really good. The supporting cast was pretty good. Didn't wow me out or anything, but I thought they did their roles great, and there wasn't anything to complain about. The directing for this movie, which this could have been a little bit of writing, but I feel like it was more directing, was not that good because, well, I mean, it was okay, but I didn't like the fact that they had so many moments, like between lines and all this, where it was just Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan staring into each other's eyes with the camera like this is the frame right here, okay? This is the frame, like just their face, and they're just like, I'm like, are aliens jumping out of the sky? What are you looking at? And I mean, it's just like, and that's like half the movie, y'all. It's ridiculous. I'm like, yes, she should be enamored, and yes, they both have beautiful eyes. However, can we move on? Like, lines need to be said, pick this up or cut it out. And, I mean, it's just like, oh. And I think some of that was cinematography, too, in that way too many close-ups of the face. Like, that's the whole movie, pretty much. It's just like, face, face, face. I'm like, less of the face, please. I know what their faces look like. Some of that was necessary to capture some of the emotion, and I agreed with a lot of that because it helped to show, the wonderment and the enamorment that she had with the angel and he with her and yada yada. But after a while, it got really, really old. So, anyway, the directing was okay. It could have been a lot worse. So, yeah. Music didn't stick out for me on this one, but there's one climactic scene that, well, the ending of the movie is like this major thing, and I felt like when the music needed to be there for that, it was there. There was a really lovely little portion at the end that went with that major, huge scene, but other than that, it was just like, 90s music. Let's move on to the cinematography, which I felt like was good. And the cinematography for this was by John Seal, who did He did the cinematography for Rain Man. He did the cinematography for The Tourist and The English Patient. So, needless to say, he knows what he's doing. And I thought he did well. I thought he did really well as far as there were some beautiful shots. A lot of things from overhead. A lot of things, and the lighting was great. So, yeah, I thought he did well. Really, really well. Again, way too much close-ups of the face, though. That would be the only thing I would have to say against him. Editing. This is by Lindsay Klingman, who also did the editing for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I thought the editing was good, though the movie did drag on. And I don't think all that was editing. I just feel like you just get tired of it. After about an hour and a half, you're just like, oh, God, please end. And the movie's like 2 hours and 5 minutes or something. So, yeah, it went on a ways. But I don't know, again, there wasn't like a ton of scenes I was like you could have cut out, but you could cut out a lot of those moments where they were just looking into each other's eyes. So, if that was his call to leave all of those in, I would have cut some of that out, but I'm guessing it wasn't. I'm guessing the director and cinematographer wanted those left in, and, you know, I don't know. Anyway, moving on to this writing, there was pretty weak dialogue between the leads, especially in like the first 45 minutes. So, yeah, it just, like, it's so ridiculous. You're like, okay, she's just met this guy, and, you know, when they first meet, she's just met Nicolas Cage. There's no way she's going to say that to him. She's just met him, you know? And he's, like, claiming to be, well, he doesn't really claim to be an angel, but, like, you know, he's claiming things that, and saying things that normal people don't say, and she's just going right on. I'm like, no, normal people are like, who the heck are you? Like, why are you saying, you know? Which she was a little bit, but she wasn't enough for me, so, I don't know. Anyway, it was like they just tried to get him a little too close, a little too fast, but, like, in the scenes like that, when it mattered, like when they were first meeting, and when, you know, things were happening like that, but then they wasted so much time on just, like, the close-ups of the eyes, and just random stuff that didn't even matter, till it dragged it out really, really long. Some cheesy lines, and, you know, just things that you wouldn't really say, and a little too fairy tale-ish, and, you know, I mean, it wasn't awful, but I don't know. And again, even in serious films, I like a little comic relief. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, get me swept up and get me like feeling the movie and all this kind of stuff, but then make me laugh a little bit too. And I didn't laugh at all for this movie, which is fine because it's not supposed to be a comedy. I'm just saying I would like a few comedic moments, even in the most serious of films. There was none in this one, not a one. So that was kind of a downer. Or maybe there were a couple moments that were supposed to be comedic, but they didn't come across as comedic. I do just want to mention a few of the producers from this, which I didn't mention earlier. 4 out of 9 of these that I'm mentioning. Jeff Levine produced The Family Man, which, as I said, I've done a previous review of, and Nicolas Cage was obviously also in. Arnon Milchan was the producer for Man on Fire. Charles Neuwirth helped produce Forrest Gump, and Charles Roven was one of the producers for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. So I feel like the people that made this movie, a lot of them knew what they were doing. I mean, they're pretty legit, but, you know, a lot of them were getting early starts and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I felt like it could have been a lot worse. The critics really seemed to hate on this one a lot. Well, not like a lot, but they didn't like it as a whole because it is cheesy. Let's jump into the Parents Guide, though, before I give you my final ratings on this one. Language is not that bad. We've got no F's, no B's, 2 H's, 1 D, 7 S's, no GDs, and 1 A. So it's not awful. Meg's scene is seen in a tub, but it's only from like the shoulders up and her legs, so there's nothing awful. There is a man seen completely nude from behind, though. So, and he's older, so, yeah. There's a sex scene, but there's not really any, there's no, like, nudity or anything like that, other than skin, you know. Here's some sexual dialogue. And Nick is seen naked from the side in the shower. Yeah, so be aware of that. And then Nick is also seen naked from behind from the waist up, so, yeah. Anyway, guys, in the summary of this film and all this, it's not that awful, but, and, you know, I felt like Nicolas Cage did a good job. I believe most of his performance, but again, I felt like they weakened both of the actors with all the glassy eyes, just like, because you're like, that is so cheesy, and that's making you look so bad, if you just knew. But their dialogue, both of their dialogues are pretty good on the whole. Meg Ryan was a little for me, but I thought Nicolas Cage was good. I'm giving this film 2.5 stars out of 5. Would I watch it again? I'm going to say no, but I've seen a worse movie. So, you know, I wouldn't recommend putting your time into this one because it is 2 hours and because it does seem to drag on quite a bit. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out my review of the 1998 film City of Angels. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.